Firstly, my sincere condolences to the family and friends of Nelson Frazier Jr., known to wrestling fans as Mabel, Viscera, Big Daddy B. He passed away a couple of days ago from a heart attack, aged just 43 years old. He will be missed. Now, get on with the good news this week. Firstly, Jim Ross, WWE Hall of Famer, has released the first episode of his new podcast, The Ross Report. You can find it on podcast1.com, that's podcastone.com, and also on iTunes. The first show has, of course, as the first guest, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Who else? It's a really good episode. Give it a listen. It's absolutely free. Podcast1, that's one.com, or on iTunes for free. Now, when asked on Twitter earlier today by somebody if Sting ends up with signing with the WWE, would you try to get him for your podcast? He replied, hoping to have Sting on soon. Sting and Jim Ross have been friends for many years. Of course, Jim Ross, famous for his WWE work, but of course worked for many years as an executive and commentator for World Championship Wrestling, WCW. So those two guys have known each other for many years. Even if Sting doesn't sign with WWE, and I hope we get a resolution to this, whether he does sign or he doesn't sign very soon, but hopefully at least we might get Sting on the Ross Report. Sting has never really sat down and talked through various aspects of his career properly, so hopefully we'll hear him on the Ross Report. Talking of Sting also, very quickly, wrestling's #1 journalist, Bill Apter. He writes now regularly for WWE.com, but his latest article is a look at the man behind the face paint, Sting, Steve Borden, one of my all-time favourite wrestlers. Also one of my favourite all-time wrestlers, and as some people may know, I was the very first guest on the very first edition in Scotland of Piper's Pit. And talking of Roddy Piper, he tweeted yesterday, signing a contract for the Rod Pod today. Rod Pod coming soon. He actually put conning soon, but I'm sure he meant coming soon. Hashtag you will love it, they will hate it. This is great. The Rod Pod, his podcast, used to be on the Toad Hop Network. He is now also signing a deal with Podcast One, Podcast ONE, to bring his podcast also to their inventory, their library of podcasts. Past episodes can be listened to now on podcastone.com, and hopefully he will be starting that podcast very soon. I'm holding on making my video about podcasts and wrestling until we hear details of when and availability of the Rod Pod. It's great to see the Rod Pod being revived. He actually ended up doing one here in Dundee, Scotland, in August 2012, where he had as his guest the Million Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase, and some of my friends from Scottish Wrestling Entertainment, who were hosting both him, Mr. DiBiase, Chavo Guerrero Jr., and the Native American warrior Tatanka for their Hell for Lycra 9 event that August 2012. So that would be great to hear the Rod Pod returning. He also tweeted earlier today, just about an hour or so ago now, have not said anything, as timing is everything. And this is in capital letters. But I'm about to tear WMXX up! Exclamation point. Does this mean, is this confirmation that Roddy Piper will be involved at WrestleMania 30? We are on the road to WrestleMania. Elimination Chamber is coming up this Sunday, and I will preview it in just a couple of minutes. But does this mean that Roddy Piper, one of the guys responsible for the success of WrestleMania, and I'm not just talking about WrestleMania, when I'm talking about the whole shebang, the whole phenomenon that is WrestleMania, does this mean he will be involved at the show of shows, the granddaddy of them all? Can't wait to find out. I really do hope he is involved. He's been shunned a little bit by WWE in these last couple of years. He definitely would be something great. If WrestleMania 30, and it seems to be, certainly with the WWE 2K14 video game, with all hype and all the buzz surrounding it, they really seem to be looking back on all of these past 30 odd years of WrestleMania. Hopefully Roddy Piper will be involved somehow at WrestleMania. It would be great. Absolutely, definitely has to have the involvement of Roddy Piper if they are looking back over the entire history of what is now the phenomenon WrestleMania. Now, talking of 30 years of WrestleMania, WWE are now releasing also on Podcast One, podcastone.com, this official podcast, their first ever podcast. And it is 30 years of WrestleMania. The second episode available now has Renee Young, the host, interviewing Edge about his WrestleMania moments, his dream matches, his memories, his involvement in WrestleMania events, and so much more. 30 years of WrestleMania is in association with, of course, the WWE Network, which is launching just in 4 or so days, February 24th, after Monday Night Raw, which is rumoured, of course, to be hosting many wrestling legends. The first episode was with Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. The second was with Edge. Really good podcasts. Hopefully they will continue this podcast series after WrestleMania 30, so they can get guests, and perhaps well, I doubt like Triple H, or perhaps even just an extended podcast with various WWE superstars and divas talking about WrestleMania 30, how it went, what they thought of their matches, their contributions. Hopefully they can and will do that. Now, talking instead of WrestleMania, we're on the road to WrestleMania, and as I said, Elimination Chamber takes place this Sunday, February 23rd, Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now, there are 7 matches scheduled for this event, including the Elimination Chamber kickoff match. The kickoff match will be Cody Rhodes and Goldust, the Brotherhood, versus Curtis Axel and Ryback. This is obviously a tag team match. Got to give my full support to the Brotherhood. Been a long time fan of Goldust since he started, really in WWE when it was Rumble 98, and then he moved to WCW. Been a big fan of his ever since. Really great, and as I said before, Cody Rhodes has really come up a notch in his performances recently in the company. This should be a good match. I would pick Goldust and Cody Rhodes if I'm making I'm just going to make picks on this video as well. Cody Rhodes and Goldust for the win. Goldust did tweet before that he's not going to face Cody at WrestleMania. He thinks the time for that has passed. It wouldn't get the interest and the spotlight that it would deserve. So what is his plans? We do know that Goldust is reportedly only contracted up to after WrestleMania. His future so far is unclear, as with several WWE superstars like Christian, Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, a few guys, contracts are up soon, so who knows, we might see quite a changing of the guard during the summer in WWE. But anyway, Goldust and Cody Rhodes versus Curtis Axel and Ryback. Then going into pay-per-view, the former Primetime Players Tag Team will face off. Darren Young versus Titus O'Neil. That should be a decent match. I'm not sure of the pick for that. I would say possibly Darren Young. New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn will defend the WWE Tag Team Championships against Jimmy and Jey Uso. I hope the Usos take the tag titles. I think they well deserve a run with the titles. Perhaps the New Age Outlaws can hold them off till WrestleMania, and then the Usos take the titles there. But I would like the Usos to take the tag titles into Mania. Big E, formerly Langston, versus Jack Swagger, defending his Intercontinental title. Big E for the win, I think, on this one. Batista versus Alberto Del Rio. Going into WWE storylines, I really do believe Batista, the winner of the Royal Rumble 2014, will be a part of the main event of WrestleMania 30, and obviously I think he will be against the winner of the Elimination Chamber, who I'll tell you who I think it'll be in a moment. I think Batista's got to take this win for the sake of the WrestleMania main event. Next up, we have the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan versus The Shield, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. This is an interesting and a good match. They've teased it over the last few weeks on many of the programmes. The Raw, SmackDown, the main event. They've teased it on Superstars as well. They've teased it on WWE.com. No, they've actually even had those guys stare down on Raw this week and last week. And we thought we were going to get it on SmackDown. But no, it's going to be obviously. And I knew when they were facing each other, when they had the moments in the ring, they surely couldn't give away this match for free because everybody is interested in it. This is a difficult one to pick. If I had to pick, I think the Wyatt family perhaps a chance, and it's a really good storyline. It's a really good thing what they're doing. A very slow burn for the breakup of the Shield. Both stables, both factions have been really dominant in the WWE. The Wyatt family were dominant in NXT before they made the WWE main roster. I think the Wyatt family to pick up the win, and I said perhaps show cracks in the Shield. The only Elimination Chamber match of the night, and for the first time in a couple of years, is of course for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Randy Orton defends against John Cena, against Sheamus, against Daniel Bryan, against Christian, against Cesaro, formerly Antonio Cesaro. I don't really need to talk about these guys, who they are, what they do. Everybody knows about these guys. So I will say one thing: if you only really beginning to know Cesaro through his WWE days recently, check out Claudio Castagnoli in Ring of Honor and other promotions. Look at him up on YouTube, on different video websites. He's an exceptionally talented athlete, as I think he showed against John Cena this week on Raw. That was an excellent match. For the winner of the Elimination Chamber match, I will pick Randy Orton, because I believe that the story of the match at WrestleMania 30 will be Randy Orton versus Batista, and I think they will have the whole Evolution storyline. Both those guys, of course, were a part of the Evolution group, along with Ric Flair and Triple H, way back about 10 years ago now. I think the storyline for that match will be both of them in Evolution, young stars, personally handpicked, really genuinely handpicked by Triple H and Ric Flair as members of that group. They were looking two young stars that we can add to the group, that can be the muscle, can be the fighters of this group, and they genuinely handpicked, real as real can be, handpicked both Randy Orton and Batista for the Evolution group, as everybody knows, I'm sure. But they genuinely really handpicked these guys. I think that will be the story from the growth from both members of being Evolution to World Champions to being the superstars they are today. Batista's in the Guardians of the Universe film that's being trailered now, that's coming out soon. So we may see him disappear for publicity purposes for a little while, but I think that's the storyline for WrestleMania 30, for the world title match. The evolution really of those two guys to the superstars that they are today. I really do think that will be what will be happening at WrestleMania. Now, as I said, we're on our way up to WrestleMania, and as I said, the WWE Network launches. Continued rumours about many WWE legends and superstars, former superstars, appearing on the following night's Raw, this coming Monday night's Raw, February 24th, in, I believe it's Green Bay, Wisconsin, home of the greatest National Football League team, the Green Bay Packers. Been a long time fan of theirs. Obviously, rumours like Sting and Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper and all these guys have been rumoured to be taking part on the Raw, Monday Night Raw, to help launch the WWE Network in the United States. Obviously, it's only in the United States. I believe there are ways you may be able to watch outside the US, but to be honest, and I'm not obviously going to put these points on my YouTube channel, because I don't know how legal they are. I don't know even whether they're broadcast, or because sometimes you go on WWE's YouTube channel, or certain YouTube channels, and you try and watch a video. You think, oh, that's an interesting video. You try and click it, and it comes up not available in your country for whatever reasons, for commercial reasons, licensing reasons, whatever the reasons are. Sometimes it comes up on these kind of video websites, not available in your area, not available in your country. I don't know whether that would be happening on, so I'm not going to put up any of the steps. There's different magazines and different websites, I'm sure they'll say how you can get the W Network in your country, whatever. I don't condone it at all, because I don't know whether these ways are legal, illegal. So wait till certainly I'd say wait till WWE Network launches in your area. And I know it's to be launched in the UK late 2014, start 2015. No date timelines exact for it yet, but it looks like a promising project from WWE. Now, talking about WWE and financial stuff as well, WWE were releasing some financial figures lately. I'm not entirely understanding all of them, because it's all in net profit and net income and outgoings and so forth. The way one of the pages that I took it from is a bit confusing to me. I'm not sure entirely how much profit, loss, etc. it is, but certainly it says for the entire year for WWE, total revenue, that's all the money involved, was $508 million. That was a improvement from $484 million in 2012. That 508 is for 2013, of course. That's a heck of a lot of money. It shows you the amount of money that is involved in the WWE. Obviously, it says something about WWE making a financial loss in the last quarter, like says, I think it's 3 months or so of 2013, but that's due to the cost of like the WWE Network and different revenue stuff. And I know there's ongoing revenue stuff in America about WWE taking their programs to possibly different networks to try and get what they believe is a good value worth all for their products and for their programming and all sorts of things involved in the WWE. Certainly, I would not. Some people may actually suggest, oh, looking at these figures, or people who might understand them a lot better, may say, oh, this is not good for the WWE, a loss. Well, a loss is never good in business. Just ask like professional football sides or clubs in the UK, soccer clubs. It's never good, in any business really, to have a loss. And I kind of got became the victim last year of trying to run a company at a loss. I ended up losing my job. It's a far complicated subject, but certainly I don't think people need to fear any financial figures from WWE. It's a billion-dollar company. WWE is the #1 pro wrestling or sports entertainment company in the world, and I think with this launch of the WWE Network, when they unveil it across the world, it's going to be something that keep establishing WWE certainly on the cusp and on the edge of entertainment. Everything's going digital these days. I think this provides a good platform for WWE to continue allowing its fans to access its products, its library, its all the things that the WWE people want to be involved with, want to be accessing WWE. I think it's going to be really good. So, although these figures look a little bit concerning, the little ones the bits I understand, don't think anybody needs to worry about them too much. That's about all the WWE really news that I have. I'll just try to keep it really on around about 20 minutes or so. Obviously, to this channel, of course, support your local wrestling. I haven't had the chance to do it, probably due to trying to deal with some dispute stuff, but certainly I know that there's major wrestling shows going on in Scotland. Scottish Wrestling Alliance and along with I believe it's International Pro Wrestling, They are holding their Scotland versus England War of Independence events on Friday and Saturday, I believe it is, or Friday and Sunday. I think it's Friday and Saturday actually. It's a 2-day thing, one in Scotland and one in Glasgow at the Pearce Institute. One in England, I believe, I'm not sure entirely where, but they're hosting a 2-day War of Independence where it'll be Scotland team versus England team. That's going to be great. But Saturday I will be attending the local wrestling organisation, Scottish Wrestling Entertainment. They're hosting their event at the Adler Complex in Dundee. It's a welcome home Mr. News party event. It's a wrestling event, but part of the show will be the welcome home Mr. News party, in-ring party. It's going to be great. Mr. News is a guy in SWE, former multiple-time SWE champion, like 3-time SWE champion. Recently won his job back at the last event, the last Uprising event, which is the name of their monthly shows at the Adler Complex. So big celebration going on there at that show. Going to be a great time. Going to be a great show. Obviously, I said this channel certainly supports. I certainly support independent wrestling for those at least who are trained, who are undergone proper and professional training. I have to say, before I finish this, I saw a video and I'm not going to link to it. I don't know whether it is on, I can't remember whether it's on just Facebook or whether it's on whether it's on YouTube. It probably is by now, if it wasn't before. About some show in America, and the guy got some stuff stuck in his head, metal stuff, and it looked gross and disgusting. I don't like backyard wrestling, not at all, because I believe you can only call yourself a true wrestler if you actually undergo proper and professional wrestling training. Like here in Dundee, there's actually the Scottish Wrestling Entertainment's Heart and Soul Wrestling School. You can find that on Facebook as well. Just go to the Scottish Wrestling Entertainment page and you can find a link through there. Heart and Soul Wrestling page. Just find it, Heart and Soul, H-A-R-T and Soul, S-O-U-L Wrestling. The professional trainers, seminars from guys who have been working for several years in the business. These guys know what they're talking about. SW does not let untrained or even anybody that they consider possibly risky or dangerous wrestlers to appear on their shows. Not a chance. Not a chance. No mass transit there. Nothing, absolutely. That is the only real professional wrestlers that I support. I support all kinds of professional wrestling. I've said it before that I watch pro wrestling from all around the world, Japan, Mexico. I've done videos about it before. It's not really, if you're really a professional wrestler, if you've undergone proper and professional training. So good luck to any real wrestlers, real trained wrestlers that are hosting shows this weekend or this week. Some good events coming up also in the next couple of months. Don't know whether I'm going to get to them. Obviously a lot of interest in SW's biggest event of the year, Hell for Lycra, which is coming this August. Obviously no more details available yet. Hopefully in the next couple of months we will get details. But certainly a lot of great interesting things. I am not sure what I'm doing for WrestleMania. Obviously I'll do a WrestleMania preview in the run up to WrestleMania and look at the matches when the card is finalised and any involvement is finalised, and see what I think of the event. I don't know how I'm going to watch it. I said I've been invited to a WrestleMania party in Dundee, not sure whether I will get to it, but certainly I'll be sitting there. I'll be sitting somewhere watching WrestleMania. Grandaddy Mall showcasing the Immortals. Going to be a great event. Can't wait to see who's going to be involved, see who's going to be actually there in the WWE for the show. But it will be a great show. WrestleMania 30, of course, this is WWE's most productive, most interesting time of the year. The build up to WrestleMania, a whole load of WWE stuff going on. A lot of controversy. As I said, listen to all the Ross Report, Steve Austin Unleashed also podcasts are featuring interviews from Austin's behind the scenes stay before Monday Night Raw. He's interviewed John Cena, Zeb Coulter, a few guys in WWE he has interviewed, and they will be coming up over the next couple of weeks. The Zeb Coulter one, some people may know him as Dutch Mantel, was really interesting, I think, for older wrestling fans who may have heard of, may know of Dutch Mantel before the Zeb Coulter character came along. But as I said, a load of stuff going on in WWE wrestling, a lot of news, a lot of stuff that's been happening. A really great time. This is always a great time for pro wrestling, for WWE, and I can't wait to see how it continues. Because April 6th at New Orleans, Louisiana, Mercedes-Benz Superdome is the day, is the place, is the time for WrestleMania 30, and we are on the build-up to that. And I would suggest everybody watches Raw this coming Monday night.